My goal in this talk is to give you as an engineer or engineering student a technique to make your life when it comes to writing a whole lot easier, and even to make your life when it comes to research easier. If you think about it, as an engineer, you're in a tough position. The stuff that we learn is tough. It is tough to understand. Except for the few geniuses out there, it's tough to understand. And it's difficult to communicate. I don't know when was the last time I tried to tell my family what I did at work, but I know, for the most part, no one really knows what I do unless they're an engineer. Then they can follow what I'm saying. So the stuff we learn is tough to learn. It's tough to communicate. On top of that, we don't get a lot of practice writing. You think about the liberal arts people, they go practically into writing. They know they're going to be writing. They do a lot of writing. That's what they do. For us, we don't do it as much. We don't practice as much. So we have stuff that's tough to write and not as much practice. On top of that, we throw equations and graphs in it just to make it a little more interesting. What I want to give you is a solid plan for your writing. That is, I want to help you apply your problem-solving techniques and your research techniques to your writing. And I want to teach you how to take the writing process and apply it to the problems you need to solve and to your research. The writing process will actually help you in that area. It's pretty cool. So, what did I learn from St. Thomas Aquinas that was so powerful? What I learned was simply this. Each sentence has a logical connection to the sentence just before it and to the sentence just after it. Think of a storyline. If you have a book that's like 22 chapters or so, each chapter has a certain place. You can't take chapters 3 and 5 and swap them. Or you can't just read chapter 5 first and then go back to chapter 2 and all that. That's just not an easy way to read a story. It's written in such a way to lead you along to the climax and then to the conclusion. In the same way, on the very level of the sentences, you need to have that kind of continuity. The question is, how do you ensure that type of continuity? It's funny that I'd say the question is, because the actual way you ensure that is through questions. Each sentence should bring to mind at least one question that is then answered by the next sentence. Now, the next sentence doesn't have to answer all the questions, just one, but it has to answer at least one. Then that sentence will bring to mind a question that is answered by the next sentence. The way I like to illustrate this is with syllogisms. Other than the first line, this is one that I made up, and it's silly, so hopefully that means it's memorable. The syllogism is as follows. Pride goes before fall. Fall goes before winter. Therefore, pride goes before winter too. If you go through that and add some questions, here's what it would look like. Pride goes before fall. What does fall go before? Fall goes before winter. Well, if pride goes before fall, fall goes before winter, how do pride and winter relate? Therefore, pride goes before winter too. You should be able to use that technique between any two sentences, and it will really help you on that level.